Hey guys, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. Okay, this is let's work through this together. I'm thinking about where the future of comics is headed, and I've done this campaign, Downcast, and there's a week left, a little bit less than a week. I'm going to end it at the end of the month. I learned a lot through this process. I've been very, very grateful for all the support that I've had. 907 backers so far has been amazing. I'm just blown away. Something that I've come to realize is that for the amount of effort that I think a lot of people don't realize, if you haven't done a crowdfunding campaign, or you've just done your first one, you've just started, it's hard to know how much work and effort goes into making $31,000. It's a lot. And a little bit of that is writing the comic. That's still, it's a lot of work to write a comic and to get it edited and all the creative stuff. But it's even more work still, just the whole publishing side of it, making sure that you're getting backers, you're getting it in front of people, you're promoting it, you're marketing, all that kind of important stuff. And I might have a different opinion than a lot of really successful crowdfunding people, maybe because I haven't had a six-figure campaign yet. Maybe also because I'm a writer, and so I'm seeing this from a slightly different perspective as well. If I'm a reader, if I put my reading hat on, what I want to read is a book that I can get into and keep continuing the story. I don't really want to have 50 pages once a year for the next who knows how long. This is where things crash into reality, because getting 50 pages done is extremely expensive, and it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time. And so it's like, how do you balance these two things? And so I've been thinking a lot on this. I'm not going to pretend that I have any answers. So I would be really interested to see what you all think. But I tried to think, what is a balance of making indie comics come out a little bit more regularly so you can have a series continue, and at the same time not have to, mortgage your home or anything in order to keep it going, and find out after the fact that you just don't have enough money, or not enough people are buying it, or whatever. How do you create this business model so that it works? Now, one option, and right now, so far, this has been demonstrated to work, and that is like the Lady Death books. You could put out a book 4 times a year. So you've got 4 installments, and the series continues, and those books are a little bit thicker. So you're talking 48 pages, which is kind of like the length of 2 issues in one. That comes out 4 times a year. So basically it's like 8 issues per year. That could work. It works for a lot of people. However, getting that machine up and running to really get out 4 48-page issues a year is still intense, especially when you can only do one campaign and then you're kind of just waiting for things to happen. This is why you have to have the art and those kinds of things in process and happening earlier on so that you're ready to release it. Now, I talked a little bit to Peter Sumetti and asked him a few questions on his ongoing series. Alternative Comics doesn't do a lot of ongoing series, but I asked him what it would take in order for him to do an ongoing series. And what he told me is that you'd probably need about 6 issues complete before you ever publish the first book. That's a lot of pages. It's a lot of pages. And then you'd want to continue going as soon as the first issue is released, just to make sure that books are continuing to come out. And in the meantime, you're also trying to figure out if it's maintaining readers like it should be, if you're going to be able to continue it. And then when you cancel it, what happens? At what point do you decide that you need to cancel it? All of this stuff is really, really complicated, and I'm not sure how to go about this. Don't get me wrong, I'm not planning on releasing some kind of ongoing series anytime soon, but it is worth bringing up because that's essentially what the comic book industry has been built upon, at least in the United States, for many, many years. Ongoing series work because you can go into the store and buy single floppies and enjoy it that way, or you can wait for trade paperbacks to come out if they're going to come out, or you can do both. And then you can also publish larger collections later down the road and buy them all, connected together in hardbound books. This has been the publishing model, and largely right now it still is. So crowdfunding is in the game. It has changed things up a little bit, but really you're only talking about a very small portion of comics that has made crowdfunding work. And it works. It really does. It's nice to know that people are interested in the book. You can pitch it directly to customers instead of going through traditional systems and hoping that they're going to like it, even though you're 6 issues or more into the series before they get a chance to read it. It works, but the more books that I read, I'm finding that I want more. They're more than just 48 pages. I want full story arcs. This is the kind of stuff that I want to read, and it's the kind of stuff that I would want to create. So I think it's worth looking at a few other alternatives, right? We've got Marvel Comics, who they do monthly books for the most part. They've got obviously miniseries and all sorts of other, ways that they're going about publishing books. And Spider-Man, when I was following it for a couple years, though, I recently have not read Spider-Man. It's been a long time. But that book actually came out twice a month, and I can't imagine the work and effort that would have to go into it to be able to publish a series twice a month. But when that's your cash cow, that's your main thing, and you're a large publisher like that, of course you're going to make it happen. But what if you're indie? What if you own your own stuff? What if you're making your own books and you're trying to get them out on time and continue an ongoing series? This is the most practical, logical step up that I can see. But I think that there are probably some other steps in between that might also work. So here I'm looking at Saga from Image Comics. If you look at this, it is an ongoing series, but it's not every single month. It kind of goes in shifts. It's like 6 months on. You can see here February, March, April, May, June, July. And then the cycle just before that actually went May, June, July, August, September, October, and stopped. So it's like 6 months on publishing and 3 months off publishing. I'm sure that this relieves some space for Fiona Staples, who is the artist on this. She is doing the line art and the colors all herself, and she's actually doing a big portion of the lettering from what I understand. So this series is an interesting way to go about things because it comes out almost like seasons. And those could be issues obviously collected into trade paperbacks, and those would be published later, perhaps in the off season. Yeah, I think so, because here August 21, 2019, that is the month right after July. And so it would actually go to a trade paperback. So that this publishing model actually makes a lot of sense to me. I could see how it works, but what you'd have to do is be able to do 6 issues worth of content, 6 issues in a matter of 9 months, and be able to stay ahead of the curve and keep it going. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. That's the thing is that if you're really going to compete, that's what I've been thinking a lot of. If I really want to compete on the main stage in comics, this is the kind of thing that you're competing with. So it definitely bears understanding your competition. Here's another one. Again, I'm looking at Image just because they publish creator-owned stuff. And it's actually a really similar thing with Rumble, except it looks like they have a little break here, and they're actually going 7 issues, or at least for this most current arc, it went 7 issues before there was a break. Again, this is pretty darn close to a monthly comic, but it does leave a little bit of room for leeway. Yeah, and if you count that there, that is actually a 3-month break between this December one to the April one. So again, 3 months off. Another route I can think about going about to publish this kind of stuff is publishing kind of like Jason Brubaker does in big volumes. So if you're talking about over 100 pages or the equivalent of a 6-issue or even a 5-issue miniseries, and you're able to keep up with that once a year, you're talking, 130 to 150 or 60 pages. Dropping something like that once a year, I think would help you achieve having a complete story arc happen, and your readers are able to follow along without waiting such a long period of time between installments. How long would you wait from issue to issue? I really want to know. How long would you wait? For me, I'm happy with waiting, but usually I'm a binge and wait kind of guy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the series that I religiously follow the longest, but I don't actually get single floppies. I get the trade paperbacks, and so I'll wait until there are 3 or 4 trades and then buy them all at once and read them and enjoy them, and then again I'm back to waiting. I've also followed series issue by issue, and that's fun too. It's fun for a different way. For me, I really enjoy the collectability of it, but in either case, you're still getting installments of a story in larger chunks. I know I'm not bringing any solutions to the table here. I'm just considering how it's been done with many publishers and what publishers have to say about it. I feel like there are definitely some possibilities in looking to the future, because if I take this back full circle, if I'm unable to sell a single issue for 100K, 200K, 500K, whatever it is, if I'm unable to do that, does that mean that making comics is not a good idea? No, I don't think so. I think I'm capable of working at a faster rate. Obviously, that's easy for me to say because I'm not the artist. However, if something like Downcast came out bi-monthly, it's the size of 2 issues, a little bit more than 2 issues long. If it came out every other month, the artist would actually be getting paid pretty well, coming out with essentially a monthly issue. This is why volume has always been part of the comics game, right? You're putting out multiple issues in order to make more money. And I'd certainly rather be putting out more issues if readers want it. So don't jump to any conclusions. Downcast, I've got a Downcast 2 planned, and so it's going to be as long as essentially a 4-issue miniseries. This is Downcast 1. There's going to be a second part, and that will wrap the whole thing up really nicely. I've got big plans for Downcast, a lot of really cool things down the road, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited to tell you all about it, but first thing is first, and that is finishing up this campaign. If you haven't backed it yet, you have less than 1 week. It's by the end of the month. October 1st, this thing will not be available. So if you've been meaning to back it and you haven't yet, or maybe you think you backed it, you could actually look through your the campaigns that you've pledged just to make sure. I'm going to be getting ready to get this thing all put together and sent to the printer, and I want to make sure I have an accurate count on how many people have bought the book. So if you're interested in it, please check it out and let me know in the comments below what you think about a good publishing schedule in general. What is something reasonable in indie comics? Love to know your thoughts. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you next time.